And then he said, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills.
I can't catch a break, guys.
Yeah.
Get them the fuck away from me. I can't be around those guys.
People think, oh, well, cleaning your room, that's just a cliche. It's like, yeah, really, eh? Just go ahead and try it.
If people had any idea how powerful sleep is for healing from anything, and the fact that it's free.
My mind is absolutely bulletproof, solid as a rock.
Podcast. Welcome back, guys, to the Fighting Fit Show. Another week, another podcast. Myself and Chris are here. Chris is just back from a week of holidays. How you feeling, Christy?
I'm feeling good. Body clock's a little bit messed up. Other than that, it's good.
Burning the candle at both ends, were you? Actually, no, just one end. Just one end. Just going to bed, Liz.
That's it.
Hilarious. So, did you do anything interesting, fun, any workouts?
No.
No workouts?
Just some like weight sessions in the gym. That's it. Like benching, squatting. No CrossFit style sessions. No conditioning.
Just 5 1 hour sessions per week.
Yeah.
No work. That's no work done in Chris's book. Fair play to you, Chris.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's get stuck into our questions. Guys, if you lot have any questions for us, feel free to plug them in the comment section of any one of the socials. We'll do our best to answer them on the very next podcast. Chris, do you get asked any questions very frequently that you can rhyme off the top of your head, or will we get stuck into the questions that we've already...
Yeah, of course. First one, how do I lose fat here? Oh, I just don't like this. Oh, this is my problem area. How do I do this? Get that all the time. Yeah. Like, especially someone who has been like on the journey, they've been losing weight, and then they're left with a little pouch at the end, just below the belly button, and they're just saying, how do I get rid of this?
How do you get rid of it?
Brian, I don't know. How do you get rid of it? What do you do? What do you do? Every time someone comes to me, I'm like, I don't know. What are you supposed to do?
I hope that's not what you said.
No.
Oh
no, it's just continue to calorie deficit. Just continue to keep doing what you're doing. If you've lost weight to this point, like, don't change anything. Just keep it going. It's working. Like, there's no reason to be worried about it. Everyone loses weight in different areas at different rates. It's largely determined by your genetics, and there's no real way. You can't do a lot of crunches to reduce belly fat. You can't do a lot of curls to reduce fat in your arm. You can't decide where you want to lose the weight. It just happens.
Yeah, true enough. Something actually else that I just kind of on the back of that is something I was thinking of an awful lot during the week is body types. And so body types really has been kind of playing on my mind in the last few months. And one of the things that I kind of break it down to now is essentially is like, chances are if you're overweight, you've got a large appetite. And chances are if you're, skinny fat or just skinny, you don't have a large appetite. It really is generally that simple. And so you have to either work with or work against your appetite. And so, some people, I'm not sure if you've ever seen that show, is it My 600 Pound Life or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
These people can eat like some of the most ridiculous amount of food. And I just thought, if we could just get you to love exercise, my God, you'd be a fucking fantastic bodybuilder. So you just love food. Like, you imagine, like, no problem eating your protein, like a fucking powerlifter. You'd be absolutely insane if you could just eat it, like, on the bulk, obviously. I mean, you might struggle a little bit with the cut, but like an awful lot of people I know, like, their issue is generally that they just don't eat enough food. And there's some people out there with a massive talent for eating food. Like, I know I could struggle to get in, enough calories consistently. And then there's other people who just struggle to cut back on calories. And so obviously everybody's dealing with their own set of problems. And the issue with the belly pouch is that you've reached your limit. You don't want to go without any more calories. You don't want to go any further into the deficit now, because the body's starting to kick back at you now. It's starting to, like, for example, if you notice that you get really far down into a deficit and you're starting to feel really lean, some of your overweight friends might feel like that an awful lot of time. Like, their appetite is just large. Like, they just have a big appetite. Like, you might be able to just generally go without calories. Oh, I can skip a meal, no problem. It's like, well, if you get far enough into a deficit and you just kind of start obsessing about food, it's like, well, welcome to the world of hunger hormones, and your body's starting to work against you. And then some of it, obviously, again, it's just bad habits and people just can't break the habit.
Well, something that I find pretty funny is that I started training with my friend Ed last year, and Eddie has the opposite goals to me. He's basically like trying to bulk and trying to put on as much muscle as possible for it, and I was trying to cut. And what was really, really funny, because like we'd hang out and stuff like that, he'd send me pictures of his food. The tell me about all the stuff that he's doing. And like he would do the exact opposite of what someone who was overweight trying to lose weight would do. So like all his plates were like packed with vegetables, like absolutely packed with it. Like his nutrition was excellent in terms of like losing weight, but it wasn't full of like calorie dense foods.
Yeah,
He was just eating really, really well like all the time,
Yeah.
but he was really, really lean. And he found it really hard to just get so much food in. I'm like, dude, like half your plate is vegetables. Like you can
fill it up
replace
with
that with carbs.
vegetables.
Yeah, you can fill it with carbs. Like it doesn't need to be like it doesn't need to be that nutritious. But in saying that, like he does really care about his nutrition, all that jazz too. So
But even just one of the easiest tips in that situation is you just need to start drizzling all your food in extra virgin olive oil. It's like that.
yeah,
That them vegetables could be so much more calorie dense. How are you making them? It's like saute them. Stop steaming them, Ed. What are you doing?
yeah, exactly. But I also think that it's still really good that he is keeping his vegetable intake high. It was also one of my housemates as well. He is the same. He's trying to gain weight as well, and all his meals packed full of vegetables. And that would have been like really, really natural and normal to him versus someone who, let's say, would struggle with overeating. They would eat lots of processed foods. They would eat lots of foods that are really, really easy to overeat. Like if I have a plate of, let's say, like chicken, rice, and then loads of broccoli, and I start munching through the broccoli first, I'm not going to get too far through the rice and the chicken as well.
Yeah, that's why I leave all my vegetables to last and then end up not eating them. No, I'm joking.
Eating. If you want to lose weight, one of the best things you could do is just like stuff your plate full of vegetables. Start like take away some of the other, let's say, macros, like reduce their portion size and increase the portion size of something that's a little bit more less calorie dense.
Chris, I don't like vegetables.
What should I do? You don't like wait there. You don't like all vegetables. You hate all vegetables.
I'll eat carrots.
Great. What else will you eat?
I'll eat peas.
There's a cool coaching thing that you can do, which is like you create like food lists, and it's like A, B, and C. So A is these are ones that you like and you'll eat and you have no problem eating and they're grand. B is like maybe. So you're like, I haven't really tried it in a few years, not sure if I like it, not sure if I won't. And then there's ones that are like definitely not. C is like I'm definitely not going to eat that ever, hate it. And like you just start categorizing the foods like that, and then all of a sudden, you have a list of like, let's say 4 or 5 vegetables that you like in Group A. You've got a list of maybe 5 vegetables in, or even just 2 or 3 in Group B, and then in Group C you have all this big long list of all the vegetables you hate. So it's like, see the ones you don't like. The ones you don't like.
What's your Group A?
Group A, I like carrots. I like broccoli. I like cauliflower. I like onions. I like like loads of salad leaves. Like what else do I like? What other vegetables are there? I don't really like courgettes. I hate tomatoes. I don't like mushrooms.
You're on list A. What
stuff that's on. Sorry, I'm just my brain's going all over the place. So group A, probably like all the main ones, like carrots, broccoli, cauliflower,
cabbage.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't go out of my way to eat it, but it would be like I wouldn't say no to it. If I had cabbage and bacon, I'd be like happy days.
Is that B? Is that Group B then?
No, that would still be Group A. Like I don't really have anything against it.
That's Group B.
So Group B would be peas. Not a big fan of peas. What else do I not really like? In terms of vegetables, that's pretty much it. That's my group. That's my Group B.
Right. Well, let's see. What do you not like?
C. So I hate tomatoes. I hate mushrooms. They're ones that I just will never eat. I tried a few times, and every time I go back.
Oh, here we go. Now you're ready. You hate mushrooms. You hate button mushrooms. What other mushrooms do you like?
Well, I don't know, to be honest.
I'm only joking, but I mean, like, it's a great tool. Like for toxic, we do the same thing with mushrooms. It's like, and then even it's like, oh, you don't like boiled mushrooms? How about fried mushrooms? You don't like fried mushrooms? How about X, Y, or Z? It's like there's lots of different things. Like just saying broadly, I hate it. It can be very, very limited.
But 100%. And what I want to get across here is that it's absolutely fine to have foods that you're like, I don't like that. I don't want that. And if you like every so often, your palate does change over time. And I do like every so often, I'll like try it again to be like, maybe my opinions change. But every single time I do, like I'll have mushroom soup or something like that, or I'll have mushroom. So if you get a fry or something like that, you get like a fried mushroom as well. I'm just like, this doesn't do it for me. Yeah, it really doesn't.
Nails on a plate to me, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, good.
What's in your A list?
My A list. Jeez, what do I
Because you
like?
used to hate vegetables. You used to never eat vegetable at all. If it wasn't beans and toast, you wouldn't eat it.
It's true. What will I eat? I'll eat peppers, onion. I'll eat red onion. That's 2 types of onion. I'll eat most salad. I'll eat carrots. I'll eat cabbage as well. Lettuce. What else will I eat? What else? I'll eat it if it's chopped up small enough, to be honest.
What about beetroot?
Beetroot. Get on that C list. Get out of here, beetroot. Peas will be on my A list. Sweet corn will be on my A list.
Yeah, sweet corn's on my A list as well.
What else?
Peppers, mixed peppers are on my A list. I like peppers.
I didn't meal prep for the week yesterday. I literally just chopped up 6 peppers and 6 onions. I was like, it's reasonable.
Nice.
So
anyway, with the A, B, and C list, eat the foods that you're like, yeah, I have no problem with that. The ones that are like B, maybe introduce them every now and then C, ignore it. You don't have to eat anything you don't like. That's one of the things. Like everyone thinks they have to force themselves to do things that they hate if they want to change, and that's not true.
Definitely not, honestly. And again, I would advise against it. Force yourself through. Force yourself to challenge your palate. Don't force yourself to change your ways altogether. It's like, again, like one of the Chris will tell you, and anybody who knew me, obviously I was a kid, but a very, very picky kid. If you looked at a picky kid, that was me. Like literally wouldn't eat anything that wasn't yellow, and yellow, orange, and red was my taste palette. That was it. And so what I did was just very slowly, just a very little bit, and eventually it's not as grotesque on the tongue. But again, we're talking to adults. I'm assuming most of you adults have been through that. You've changed your palate. Maybe you always liked them. I'm sure there's one fussy get out there who's a bit like myself. I challenge you to change your palate, and I challenge everybody else to accept what you don't like and to, again, just start leaning into your strengths, because there's probably loads of stuff that you're doing well already. So, next question. We've already kind of covered now Chris's common question, how do I lose the pouch? What would any other common questions, Chris, that you get asked that you'd like to cover before we dive into
it? What's the best way to build muscle?
Would you like to answer that? Do you want me to answer it?
So the best way to build muscle is to give your body a stimulus that it needs to change. So it needs to adapt to its environment. If you put stress on your body, it gets better. You got to stress it systematically, and you can do that by lifting weights. If you want to grow your chest, get good at the bench press. If you want to grow your legs, get good at the squat. If you want to grow your back, get good at pull-ups. It's that simple. But eventually, when you do that, you'll hit a plateau. And if you want to keep building muscle, you have to progressively overload. And the way you do that is you can vary your volume or your intensity by doing a few different things. One is, once you have your routine established, so Monday you do chest, Wednesday you do back and biceps, and then Friday you do legs. So you have a 3-day routine that's good enough. You're getting, let's say, 8 to 10 sets in per muscle group per week at a certain weight, and the RPE, or the rate of perceived exertion, is about 7 or 8 out of 10. What you can do is, you can, in every single one of those exercises, you can either increase the reps with the same amount of weight, or you can increase the sets, or you can increase this thing called time under tension, which is how slowly you're moving the bar. So if you are doing a bench press and you control down for, let's say your normal set would be 1, 2, 1, 2. It's like that. If you want to increase the time under tension, you control down for 3. You go 1, 2, 3, and then back up for 1. And by doing that, you just double the volume of that set. So, the time under tension. But the way that I find is easiest is to just add a set on. So if you start off, you're doing 4 sets of bench per week, well, then you add 1 to it, and you make it 5 sets per week. That's simple. And you do that with all of your movements, and you just keep doing that over 5 years, and then you're a tank.
That's something I actually seen yesterday that was really interesting. It's like, here's a cool concept, is that let's say you did everything right. Let's say you got things 90% right. Most people still don't understand it's going to take about 3 to 5 years to get the body you want. It's like, and that's it. And that's if you do everything right. Most people do things 50% right.
Well, if you do everything right, like, you can do it within 12 weeks. Like, it depending on where your starting point is. Like for you, if you were to just fully commit, do everything right, and you weren't getting your head hurt when you're training, like 12 weeks, like, you'd be absolutely jacked. No
Yeah,
problem.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, but I'm talking about
But
like,
like if we've someone who is like, let's say, like 4 stone overweight, so it's going to take a little bit more time for them.
exactly.
It depends where your starting point is.
If you did everything right in 12 weeks, what do you think you'd achieve in terms of weight loss?
If you're what, 4 stone overweight, like it's not it's not unreasonable to lose.
2 pounds. I would say 2 pounds.
It's not unreasonable to lose half a stone a month. Like some people will lose a stone in a month in their first month, and then half a stone every month after that. So, but like as you're doing this as well, your capacity to work will go up. Like just because you have fat over your body doesn't mean that you're not actually building muscle as well. So if you want to build muscle, progressively overload, add more weight over time.
Yeah,
it's that simple.
But also protein. You have to have the protein and calorie conversation as well. It's like, you have to at least be eating at your maintenance calories, and then you need. I would just say just go for a gram per pound of body weight. If you're obese, maybe go for 0.7.
So the way I would view that is that I think when it comes to building muscle, I trained with some powerlifters before as well, and their nutrition wouldn't be 100%, like it really wouldn't be. But it's not something that they focus on or anything like that there, and they're really, really strong. They built a good amount of muscle, and I would say that like when it comes to building muscle, like hitting your protein optimizes it and makes it way more efficient, way easier. But it's not necessarily like the most vital thing. The most vital thing I think is the training stimulus. Like without your nutrition, like if you don't have that stimulus, like it doesn't matter how much protein you're eating. It really doesn't matter how much. Like if you don't have the stimulus to grow, it's not going to happen. And you can still grow if you don't have like as much protein. Like if you're only hitting like 90 grams of protein or 80 grams of protein a day, and you're still lifting real heavy, you're still getting like you will still build muscle. It just might not be as fast as if you are hitting your exact amounts, and you won't be getting as lean as well.
Mm.
So there you go, and you won't recover as fast.
Yeah, well, but again, like I mean, an awful lot of it comes down to the quality of your training, and so good luck applying progressive overload to a body that's not recovering well. It's like
100%.
All over the place. You're not going to be able to perform. You're not going to be able to push. The risk of injury goes up, etc.
I would say a bigger factor in that performance would actually be sleep. I would say that, like, so the way I would view it, if you're trying to build muscle, what you want to do is you want to be able to show up to your training sessions, like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to go. And if you're showing up to your training sessions, you're tired. Like, it's okay to have it like once or twice. So a week where actually once or twice a week is a bit much if you're only training 3 times a week. But if like once a week or maybe once every 2 weeks you show up, you're tired, that's not a big deal. But if you're showing up to every single training session, like, I have to do this, you have no energy and all that sort of stuff, because usually it's because your sleep isn't on point. Well, then you're almost wasting your time.
So actually, we've already answered one of the questions. Can I spot reduce body fat? Next one is, how long does it take to see results from my workouts, which we're kind of already on. So we might as well just kind of stay on that. And so again, maybe just get a little more specific on that. I would say it depends based kind of on what you're saying. It's like it depends on your sleep, depends on this, depends on that. And so
how long does it take to
start seeing results?
All right, how long to start to see results? The most important part of the answer to this question is, how are you measuring your progress?
Mm-hmm.
So you can see progress like within days if you really want. Like you really can. Like if your goal is weight loss and your goal is to lose body fat and get fit and build muscle and look and start living a healthier lifestyle and all that sort of stuff. Like it depends what the goal is. If you want to see results, like how are you measuring your results? If you're only
how long does it take me to see results from my workouts? It's like, what about an immediate endorphin boost? It's like, is that
done? Boom, that's a result.
It's like, what about an immediate sense of self-satisfaction? But right, let's say what do most people really want? It's like, how long should it take? Let's say I'm 80% committed to my nutrition, because again, I would say, like, I mean, that's
all you need to be is 80%.
But that's my point. It's like, that's the gold standard. It's like, who's really been 100%? So I would say, let's say you've been 80%. Let's say you're on the ball, Monday through Sunday until about 7 p.m. and then you have a bit of a wild one Sunday night, between the hours of 7 and 9. You maybe go over your calories, whatever with that. But let's say for the most part, you're pretty damn on the ball. Maybe, one of the days you're 800 calories over. You're hitting your protein consistently. You're going to your training. You're an absolute novice. I want to see my body's starting to change. I've got 3 stone to lose, and I want to see some tone in the muscles. Like, how long is it going to take?
It depends how much weight you're losing per week and how big your deficit is.
So again, fighting fit standard. They're training 4 days a week for their first week. They're training 5 days a week every day after that. They've got a 500 calorie deficit target per day. Maybe they're super active, so maybe it's 800 per day. So they're roughly losing about a pound to 2
a pound to 2 pounds a week. Yeah. So and they're what 3 stone overweight.
I know.
28. I'm trying to do maths. So if they lose roughly 30 something pounds, 38 pounds, 36 pounds, something like that. So like if they lose a stone, like they'll see it. They'll absolutely see it. If they lose 2 stone, they'll see it more. If they lose 3 stone, Joe, they've hit their goal.
What
But
about 5 pounds?
huh?
5 pounds?
5 pounds. I find it very hard to notice when I lose 5 pounds.
Are you sure?
Yeah. If I lose 5 pounds, I'm like, did I? Like, I can still question it. Do you get me? It's like, do you know, like if I have a progress photo or something, I'll be like, oh, maybe it's a little bit like that. It could be light, it might not be like 5 pounds.
His cheeks. That's 5 pounds.
You think so?
Yeah.
So again, I would say that still comes down to genetics as well. Some people wouldn't lose it in their face till a wee while. So I think it is common for people to lose weight in their face, but I think that's usually around like if there was that 3 stone journey, that would be around halfway. I would say.
Okay.
So, but how long would it take to do that? Like, if you're losing roughly 2 pounds, 1 to 2 pounds a week, Joe, that's like that's a 1 to 2 pounds. Like, is 100% difference in the rate at which you're losing weight. Like, if you lose 1 pound a week versus you lose 2, like there's 100% difference in that. It'll take you half the time.
Literally moving twice as fast.
Yeah, so I think that's also important to take note of. How long will it take? Like, it depends your starting point. If you're 3 stone overweight, it will take you, if you're doing everything brilliantly, it would take you roughly about 12 to 16 weeks to do it. That's what I would say. Especially if
the question is, how long will it take to see results from my workouts? That's the real question. Like, how long until I feel like, fuck, this is worth my while?
Yeah, so I think that's a really like bad question. I think it's a really bad.
But this is the kind of way that people are phrasing questions.
Yeah. So when I say, I want you to sort of understand why it's a bad question. It's a bad question because it doesn't give parameters for success, and that's one of the things that coaches do is they give you parameters for success and they give you little roadmaps to do it. So like you start off when you first start training with us, you do the foundations program. The foundations program tells you exactly where you're at, and then how long will it take you to see one improvement in one of those things. So a lot of the adaptations or the improvements that you can get when you first start are coordination adaptations, and they can be done session to session. So like learning how to skip. You start skipping and you can only do like 10 before you trip up, and that's a very consistent number for you. Try and get it and you get 10, you get 10, you get 10. Then like you practice that in one session, then you practice again the next session, you're getting 12. That's, you've seen results there. Does that make sense? But like I feel like the kind of person who would ask that kind of question would more than likely be disappointed with that little minimal improvement. Does that make sense? Like that's not progress. It's not good enough to even register as progress. But like as a coach, you can see that that's like one little small step, and then you do it again. There's another small step, and then all of a sudden, instead of doing 12, you're doing 20. But it's still progress. So that's seeing results. If you train after 3 sessions, you're already fitter. Like you're already like a good bit fitter. You know how far you can, like awareness of how hard you can work is also an improvement. So if you want to test your fitness, and let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, you think you're a 6, but then all of a sudden you're training, you find out you can push to a 7. Like that's progress that you just found out how hard you can push. Does that make sense? So you're more aware of your own capabilities. That is also progression. Then the next time you go into a session, you're like, okay, I know I can work at a 7 here, and you start pushing to a 7. Then you get the ability to do that more consistently. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it depends. How long will it take you to see progress? It depends on how you measure it. But if you measure it in certain ways, you can see it session to session. If you're looking at it in terms of building muscle, like you're looking months.
Yeah. And fat loss, you're looking weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
You're talking actual training performance in the gym, days, fat loss, weeks, muscle building, months.
Perfect.
Let's do it. Moving on. Right. So how do I break through a plateau in my fitness progress? We kind of already touched on that, to be fair, with the training, up in the intensity, progressive overload, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, the best answer though to that, I think, is focus. So, where attention goes, energy flows, and if you give your attention to something, you focus on it, it gets better. what, like, let's say me and you practicing muscle ups, running muscle ups. What's the first? What do you do? Well, like we were stuck on it. What do we do? We focused on it.
True.
We focused on it. We trained it more, and then you try and get better at it that way. And I think one of the biggest factors to that is the belief that you can get better. It's not like you can gain the ability to do something that you couldn't before. So like a ring muscle up for me before was like I'd look at the rings and be like, how does anyone ever fucking do this? How does anyone do this? Yeah. And then all of a sudden you do it once, you get kind of there to it. You do it again, you get kind of close to it, and then you kind of hurt your shoulder and you leave it for a little bit. You're like, I don't want to do that. It was a negative experience. But then you do it again, and then you get it or you get close to it. So I think if you want to progress or you hit a plateau, focus is what you do. So like one thing, if someone's like plateauing on their bench, I'll say, all right, well, now we bench twice a week instead of once a week. And we overcome the plateau that way. Does that make sense? And we prioritize that session. We make sure that session is a tough session, that we have energy for it. And so it also depends on what you're doing. Like what I would also do if I was plateauing on the bench is I wouldn't just keep benching. So I would try and get stronger in different areas as well. You know, like I'd try and get stronger triceps, or I'd try and get stronger at my dip, or try and get stronger. Like stuff translates over really, really well too. So I think that's also really important. Sometimes like a lack of stability might be an issue as well. So finding out what the limiting factor is as well is important. And the only way you get that is by giving it attention, giving it focus.
Great answer. Yeah, no, very, very, very good answer. So next one. What's the best way to prevent injuries during my workouts?
All right, commit to good form. Understand what technical failure is. So technical failure is where you are no longer strong enough or fit enough or have like the fitness integrity to maintain perfect form. So no, even if you're trying and you're fully committing to it. So like let's say
perfect form, but really good form. It doesn't have to be perfect, obviously. Yeah,
like if you squat, Joe, and you can squat perfectly, but let's say you get to your 10th rep and your form starts to break down, Joe, knees start caving in, or you start wobbling, or start slowing down a lot, or the hips start shooting up too early, Joe, you're hitting technical failure there. So it's important. Like your goal should be to get your technical failure and absolute failure to the exact same thing, and that's basically what machines do. So if you have machines in a gym and you're using that, technical failure and absolute failure are like, it just brings those two real close together. So like if I was doing, let's say, dumbbell bicep curls, when I start hitting failure, I can start cheating by just adding a little bit of a swing to it or whatever. But with a machine, so it's just the same controlled tempo through the thing. There's no wobbling. There's no nothing. You just pull until the muscle cannot pull anymore. It just gives up. Like no matter how hard you try, it just won't go. So you've hit absolute failure there, and there's no real technique breakdown, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's a very, very good answer. But I would say that, lining up biomechanically, like understanding what that looks like, and just not loading your joints in a bad way is like, that's half of it. Like that.
Yeah,
really,
no,
like
100%.
The other side of the injuries are, I pulled the muscle, you didn't warm up properly. Maybe you're not managing your training load. Maybe, you're just trying to fucking, do legs with no understanding for the fact that you only have so much gas in your hamstrings that they need to actually recover, and you can't just hit them again and again. Obviously mobility comes into it. For talk's sake, like let's say you're running, football players often pull their hamstring or their glute. They're running. Runners often with their calves or whatever. It's like you're using this muscle, and there's an aspect of it that's maybe not been pulled along and been used effectively or optimally, and so it's too short, too tight, shuts down, and then generally causes a little bit of overwork in other areas, or that muscle itself becomes injured. And so it's like, right, okay, well, if we'd more training in that one specific area of your hamstring, we could probably avoid this injury in the future. And so obviously, again, it depends on why you got injured. An awful lot of it can come down to posture and just bad position. And it's like, that's obviously, again, when you come to form, it's like if we're doing a bench press and your shoulders are just absolutely rolled into pieces and you can't do anything about it, you're just kind of stuck here. Well, that's probably going to lead to an injury. Not always, but probably going to bias you towards an injury because things aren't biomechanically situated. And so that's kind of where stuff like yoga and Pilates and mobility, just training, just understand, like, listen, there's proper positions for your muscles and joints. We all sit for 7 to 9 hours a day very, very easily. Our body is adapting to that and getting pulled into that shape. And anytime that we kind of start trying to be active outside that shape, we're working against all the time that we constantly put in to our body adapting towards that shape. And so it's a little bit of the balance towards the desk posture and the gym movements that you want to do. And this is kind of why perfect form is so important. It's like, hey, why can't we achieve perfect form? Well, because your body's morphing to do something else. Like I know for me, from years of boxing, like my body was designed and morphing into, because of no mobility training and undoing of that. It's like I had my sitting to contend with and I had the boxing to contend with. My body was becoming a specialist at this rounded shoulder shape. And there was so many movements outside of that that just weren't valued and weren't prioritized. And for example, one of the things that happened, tight hips, and just ended up hurting my back because I was trying to bob and weave, but no squats or hip work or hamstring work or quad work to support the back. And so you can just end up injured through trying to push through a bad system.
Yeah, so that's a really good point. To build on that, sometimes your mobility will limit you in your ability to maintain perfect form. One of the things that will make you lose your form faster is if, let's say, your hip flexors are tight enough, pulls you into that, or your adductors are tight, pulls you into that seated position. Now, if you're fresh, you might actually be able to maintain it and fight against that. But as soon as you start fatiguing, those little tightnesses and those little chinks in the chain will start popping out, and they'll start being aware. The biggest one for me, if it's squat, the biggest example is keeping your knees out and your feet active on the floor. That's the biggest tell, or not the biggest tell. It's the biggest thing that I see when people are squatting, the hip fatigue that goes, or they let their back round a little bit more, or they let the hip shoot up. And one of the things as a coach that we have to do all the time, is just remind people, hey, form, you're gonna hurt your back, careful, knees out, chest up, try and maintain it, even if it's hard. It's really annoying. Even if I'm doing a session, you're trying to coach me, I'm doing something, and then I'm starting to hit here, I'm working real hard, all my mental energy is put on push harder. And then you're like, fix your knees. I'm like, fuck off, I'm trying to work here. But at the same time, you're only looking out for me to get my knees in a good position so I can work. But let's say with challenger, you're going to be like, no, my form's great. I don't know what you're talking about. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. And so again, I mean, that's a massively important aspect of it, is not pushing your way through stuff and being a gobshite and ego lifting. And so again, that's a massive part of it, because when you ego lift, what are you doing? You're saying, I'm strong, this weight isn't shit. It's like, okay, well, let's see how that works out for you. It's like you just lift whatever way you want with no principles. No. Lots of studies and, experience out there to tell you otherwise, but no, you just go on ahead. And for me, anyway, I had to learn the hard way.
Yeah. Well, that's what's you got to push your limits as well, and finding that line between pushing your limits and staying safe is. That's
actually another great point. Is that I seen a guy, and he was kind of talking about, not every rep's going to look perfect, and then obviously we have to understand that as well. It's like when you're generally challenging and pushing your limits, you should probably see some form breakdown. If you don't see any form breakdown, you're probably not hitting that stimulus you need. It's like we can't be perfect. Now, obviously, to a degree you can maybe beat it in the long term with volume by just going, perfect form for volume. But, in the real world, you're going to start seeing some form breakdown. So again, you're not expecting people to be robots.
Yeah, 100%. So, one of the best examples that you want to look at this is to look at Olympic weightlifters in the Olympics. You see them do these unbelievable cleans, unbelievable things, but then they'll catch at the bottom of their squat. And because they're at the edge of their ability, a knee will fucking come in, and then they quickly readjust it. And then they're trying to get everyone back in line so they can push a little bit harder. Stuff wobbles and all that. When you're at the edge of your ability, stuff starts to break down.
Yeah.
And that is also important. But those guys, what you have to is that they're not doing that every single week.
Yeah,
they're not hitting that limit every single week. That's a once off every now and then, and they still get injured when they do that, when they do push past that thing. So it's it is dangerous, but if you're going for gold, sometimes it's worth the risk, and I think it's important to be aware of that. But if you're just Joe Soap and you're trying to hit a squat PR for your Instagram or whatever, so you get all the validation, all the likes, I don't think that's necessarily a good justification to put your back, your legs, your body at risk.
I don't agree. I feel like if the likes mean enough to you, as the Olympics mean to them, go for it. But my point is, if you're doing that every week, exactly what you said there is listen, if you're drilling, your biggest platform is your social media posts you've been building to for the last fucking 16 months, and you feel like it's worth it, again, it's nobody's business to tell you what is and what isn't worth it. But our point is, as coaches, is that up until that point, you should have been trying to train near absolute perfection. It's like, and if you drilled for absolute perfection and then on the day a couple of things started sliding out of place and you decide, fuck it, I'm going for it. It's like, listen, that's reasonable enough to think. But the key is like that guy in your gym whose form is falling apart every week on the squat as he's grunting and grinding and screeching and squealing, is like, that's not a smart way to train. He will eventually get injured. No doubt, guaranteed.
I think there's a bit of a meme with deadlifts on the internet. You know, people lifting with bad form. You know, especially people who are like new to the gym and were kind of strong or have been lifting for a little bit. You know, they'll hit a PR on their deadlift. As a lad, it'll be something like 120 or 140 kilos. It's their first like sort of like real weight. You know, and the back is running. I remember the first time we deadlifted when we were trying to do like our like angry cats. That was what our spines looked like. But we got it up. We're like, don't care. Got the lift.
I remember having the conversation. I think you were actually a little bit more focused on the form than me and Stephen were at the time. We were like, up and down, off the ground, up to the hips. That's all that counts. That's all that matters. See the power.
You guys, I feel like you guys got really mad at me now. I was like, guys,
we did. You're challenging our egos.
Yeah. So, but it's still in powerlifting standards, I think it still counts. Once you get the bar up, it doesn't move down.
It certainly counts, but again, when you like, at least for me anyway, it's like when I seen powerlifters lift, is like I was looking at that one rep where it was all falling apart, not necessarily, you know, every perfect rep that they ever did in training leading up to that, you know.
Yeah, if you if you ever train with powerlifters, something that you'll see is like consistency. Yeah. Like in terms of movement, it's kind of cool to watch. Like you see they'll step to it, they'll put their foot in the right position, they'll wedge it into the right position, put their other foot in the right position, they'll wedge it in, they'll get their feet tight, they'll get their legs tight, they'll get up tall, tense everything up so it doesn't move, hinge very, very precisely, grab the bar the exact same way, grab the other one, maybe shake it, maybe put, like they'll have a little routine, do that routine every single time. Every single time. Bump, 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 big brace, and then pull with the cleanest form ever.
Everybody sings a little bit different. Some people jimmy their knees, some people have the arms out here, some people pull their shoulders back. I like it.
There's loads of different ways to do it. But that's what's really cool about powerlift. Like they slowly refine that over time. And that's a really safe way to do it. And those people, even with that, they'll still get injured because of imbalances and all this other stuff as well.
That's something I notice all the time. If you ever watch internet memes and stuff like that, or internet videos, the challenge videos, you know, the gym fails, or not even the gym fails, people showing up, it's like, and they show up and they lift a weight and they act like they're a novice. I'm not joking. If somebody came into this gym and tried that on me, I don't ask, like people, sometimes I ask people, but generally, like, if I'll see someone do an exercise, I'm like, oh, what training have you done before? It's like, this is not your first time doing that move. And if you're going to start telling me it's your first time doing a move, it's like, I'm going to call bullshit. It's like, listen.
Yeah. You can tell straight away.
It's like, they're solid as fuck. It's like people who, it's like they don't know about their center of gravity. And even if they're very aware, it's like there's a couple of little subtleties that they're not aware. And these people have been doing it for years. They just rock up to the bar, pull it clean. It's like, listen. You stop that right now. Obviously,
one of the best ones is the old man one, where like someone will get like all the prosthetics and all that. So they'll go to like a beach or a beach gym in like Miami or California or something like that, and they'll start like doing all these lifts or muscle ups on the bars and stuff like that. Yeah.
But what about did you see the news one? There's one guy and he goes around, he pretends to be the janitor of the gyms, and he's going around like single suitcase deadlifting people's deadlift and wiping. Who is that guy?
I have no idea.
Like 4 times the width of him.
No, just like this.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
Anyway, I think we might have time for one more question if it's a quick one. How can I stay motivated to exercise consistently? So one thing I would say on that is
go for it.
You have to become obsessed with it. That's what I would say. It's like realistically, if you want to exercise consistently, you have to tell yourself you have to it has to be one of your top priorities. Like that's what I would say is like if you want to exercise consistently, you need to highlight it in your life as something that is valuable to you. And it doesn't have to be top 1 or 2 or 3. I would say if it's fat loss, it's probably going to have to move to the first, second, at least third, because of the kind of, you know, the other things that are going to come in the way. But it's like if you just want to exercise consistently, it's like firstly you have to enjoy it, and secondly, like you have to value it. It's like if you don't value it yourself, like nobody else can force you to exercise. It has to be something you've decided upon yourself with your own values that this is something that I want to do, and understand why you're doing it. And then obviously you have to pick an exercise practice that you actually enjoy, so that way you can follow through and start building interest. And I would always, again, encourage people to become a student of whatever you're doing, because, again, like I didn't give a shit about Olympic lifting until I started learning about it, and I was like, oh, this is very interesting. So, again, if you're interested in it, if you feel like it's important and you enjoy it, you're probably going to be consistent with it. What about you, Chris?
So something that I try and watch or try and look up or try and learn as much as possible about regularly is motivation, and what motivation is, how it works, why it goes away, why it doesn't, all that sort of stuff. Okay. And one of the main reasons, one of the main things to keep you motivated is when you said it has to be a big priority. It's keeping it front of mind. Keeping it front of mind. One of the biggest reasons why I see people fail in terms of fat loss is because they don't want to keep it front of mind anymore. They actually, what they do is the opposite. They will try and keep it out of their mind. They literally like just switch off, disassociate, whatever it is, and eat the cupcakes, eat the things, so they don't have to think about their fat loss journey because of loads of different, let's say, emotional reasons. Might be the challenge is too daunting. They might not be believing themselves. They might need to emotionally eat. They might have like some stress management, not tools, strategies that aren't cohesive to it, and they might have to let those go to do it. There's a load of different reasons why they won't keep it front of mind and just let it go. So, like, let's say partying on the weekends. I had a big stressful week at work. I don't really want to think about my weight loss right now because, I'm real stressed and I want to have fun. And you know what's not conducive to fun? Not being able to eat whatever I want, not being able to drink, all that sort of stuff. So they'll let it go out of their mind and then they won't focus on it anymore. So I think keeping it front of mind is number one. So how do you do that? You set a goal and you commit to it. You need to decide, make that decision. This is going to be what I'm going to do. I'm going to lose this amount of weight in this amount of time. That's what I'm setting myself out to do. I'm going to make it public. I'm going to let other people do it and like talk about it with other people, but not like you've already did it. And don't be looking for validation, because one of the things that I see people that steals their progress from them is when they do it, they talk about it like they've already got it, and then they'll get validation for it. And because they've already got the validation for it, they don't really need to do it anymore. They're like, oh, you're great. And they're like, oh, I'm great. I did it. And then the motivation for doing it is gone. But if you keep it front of mind and you actually focus on it, I think that is the best way to stay motivated. And like remind yourself of it daily. Have something to do it. Like what some people do is they'll have a picture on their fridge. You'll hear stuff like that there. Like they'll have a picture on their fridge on the wall, or they'll set their screensaver on their phone. Or they'll do silly stuff like that there. They'll have notepads on their walls. They'll have something that will remind them daily of what their goal is.
The other question is, well, it's like, yeah, how do I stay motivated? It's like, well, what's motivating you? And it's like, what is motivating you? And so it's like, well, is it to lose weight? It's like, oh, well, then why aren't you motivated? So because if that generally was like, why are you doing this? Oh, well, I do because I really want to lose weight. Do you though? Do you really want to lose weight? It's like, because if you did, you shouldn't be asking the question about motivation. It's like, because realistically, hold on.
Let's go. Go.
Let me finish it.
Sorry.
So again, so for some people, what they want to do is they want to lose weight because they want to, feel good about themselves. And so it's like, cool. It's like, here's the issue with that is like, you're a great person. You might feel good about yourself anyway. And so maybe that's not all that motivating. Maybe you want to look good. It's like, listen, maybe put on, a slightly bigger pair of pants and do your hair or get a haircut. It's like, well, now you kind of look better. And so the key is like, what is actually motivating you? Like what motivates me personally is like an awful lot of it is like self-satisfaction. Like I am very intrinsically motivated now after many, many years to the point where it's about me. But up until that point, like an awful lot of it was, for validation, for validation from other people. It's like I wanted to, be somebody in other people's eyes because I had a fucking chip on my shoulder because I felt like, I was never anything growing up. Nobody ever really liked me, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to do this now as, a vessel for me to get that feel. But it's like, what is actually motivating you? And I feel like the very important key thing is to get straight. It's like, what actually motivates you? It's like, so, if it is getting...
How do you find that out?
Well, you need to sit down with yourself and have a good talk. As Jordan Peterson said at one stage, it's like, sit if there, it's like, I feel like your mind's pretty honest. I feel like what you said is like people disassociate and all this kind of stuff. It's like there's many mental gymnastics that people do in order to kind of get away from understanding what's really real with them. And I feel like if you honestly just stand in front of the mirror and get fucking real with yourself and ask yourself like, what the fuck do I want and why do I want it? It's like stand there in your jocks in the mirror, bare all just for yourself to see and say, right, how do I feel about this? What do I actually fucking want for myself? What can I expect for myself? And then obviously, again, don't expect a quick turnaround. It's like, but doing that really regular, it's like, listen, why are we doing this? What are we trying to do here? And if you can look at yourself and stand with pride with your body flabbing all, if that's who you are and where you're at, it's like, and you're generally proud of yourself, it's like, well, that's why you can't lose weight, because you don't have a problem with it. And if you don't have a problem with it, that's cool, it's excellent. And then another part of it is like, why you're not motivated? You're not motivated because you're not looking at the problem. It's like, do you stand there and address the problem every day, or do you just ignore the problem and pretend that it isn't there? It's like that. Maybe that's why you're not motivated. Maybe, again, as you said, it's like the focus on the problem. What is the problem? What motivates you really? And so it's like, if it's validation, it's like, well, fine. It's like, stop being a recluse. Go and talk to these people that you want validation for and tell them what you're doing. Commit to the things. Like, one of the biggest things, I want validation from my clients because I want them to respect me, because I don't want to be a hypocrite. So I tell my clients when I'm going to do something, I say, hey, this is what I'm doing, watch, it's going to happen, kind of thing. And
yeah,
that's something that I like to do, because I feel like that motivates me. It motivates me to kind of get people saying, oh, fuck, that's amazing. And then they start doing stuff like that. And that, but again, it all started from a place of just going, it is, I'm not happy with my standing in myself or in other people, to be fair. So I'm going to start working on that. And as soon as I kind of started, building on that. And again, I think that you'll find that people, if you're around the right circle of people, will give you a high five a lot sooner than you think. If you do something right twice, if you're in the right circle of people, they're like, fair fucks you, jeez, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, I think that's also important to note that people will sabotage you. That's what I think is hilarious. Like, people will look at you. Yeah, some people will look at what you're doing. They'll see that you are doing better than them, or in this one area. That's all. Like, not that they're actually better than them, but and then they'll start being like, oh, it's a bit much, or oh, jeez, I don't know how you do that every day, because that's mad. I can't believe you do. Like, they'll say little things like that there to just take away from what you're doing, only because they feel like they should be doing something similar and they're not. And that can happen an awful lot.
A lot of the time, it's unconscious to them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%.
Sometimes it's conscious. You need to cut those people out.
No, I don't think you should cut them out. I really don't. Like, I think it's a very human thing to do. It's very, very normal and natural. And I think, I think it is something to be aware of. I actually would advise against, if you catch someone doing this to you, like, calling them out on it and all. It's only going to cause more conflict and drama.
Call them out and cut them out. That's how you say it. Cut them out.
Yeah, it's like it's your brother. It's your brother that's doing it to you. Yeah, cut him out. Because you have to deal with people. Like, you have to deal with people all the time. And I think the best thing to do in that situation is to kill it with kindness, or just lead by example.
Lead by example. That's the much better one. I completely agree with that. You should lead by example. It's like, and not only that, it's like, one thing I learned from David Goggins, one of my favorite things about, it's like, learn to love stuff like that. That is a great sign you're going the right direction. If you hear anybody trying to put a limit on you, and all they're doing is expressing their own limits to you, and like 9 times out of 10, it's not coming from a bad place. Coming from a place of love and empathy, and they're just putting themselves in your shoes and expressing that to you. And often enough, if you're struggling to kind of keep going, sometimes that can kind of feel like they're pulling you back, and that can be a little bit demotivating, and that can kind of kill your momentum a little bit. Unless, like, again, you have a look at that frame, and it's like, good, I'm glad. It's like, oh, like the podcast with Joe Rogan is like, or maybe it's somebody else. It's like, say something like, I'm doing something crazy and you don't like it, or you don't like it, you can't believe it.
Oh, I can't believe you do that. That's mad. Why are you jumping off cliffs for fun? That's so dangerous.
Love it. You're just right. So dangerous, man. I live and breathe for this stuff.
Rock climbing, that must be so bad for your fingers.
Oh man, listen.
I got the strongest. I got the strongest fingers ever.
I'm gonna crush this laptop with my fingers. Whatever it is, like, so again, we just learned to internalize and kind of, what it is, like, yeah, that's me separating myself from the norm. And most people, quote unquote, in the norm, it's like, they're not doing a whole pile to challenge themselves, because it's really, really hard. And so anytime that you step outside that, it's like, a lot of people aren't going to understand you. And if that's where you're at and you're looking to grow, it's like, that's a good sign you're in the right place. One thing I realized, like, ages ago, was that a lot of people around me would try and limit me through love. It's like, oh, jeez, I don't think that's good for you. Or the way that it would be communicated is like, oh, that couldn't be good for you. Because they would not do it in case it broke them or injured them. You're stepping outside of that and growing towards it. You understand that this is good for you, given the fact that you're managing your training loads and all this kind of stuff, and you're doing it in a smart way. It's like, yeah, I'll be honest with you. If I was you, I wouldn't do it either. I wouldn't run a half marathon. You'd fucking die. You'd probably injure your ankles, your knees, your back, and it'd be the last thing you ever done. For me, it's great.
That's a very good point.
So, guys, we are literally out of time. Christy, Bent, Dad.
Yeah, if you want to be motivated, have a clear vision of what you want, a very, very clear vision. Imagine what it would be like to hit it. Get as emotional as you possibly can. Emotional experiences have weight to them in your mind or in your mentality. If you are talking to someone about it and you're really overweight and you open up to them, let's say you have a wee cry about how you actually really feel, you remember that experience. That'll be a very, very impactful experience to you. And something that happens all the time when we're coaching or we have coaching calls, will be a very emotional sort of conversation because we'll be unpacking lies and just disappointment and self-deception, all this sort of stuff, and how like someone has let themselves down over and over again. But after they have that emotional experience and they let it go, and you tell them like it's normal, it's fine, it's happened before, that emotional experience, they can call back to that, and that will help motivate them through when things get tough. That will help remind them. It'll be a very let's say weighty experience for them. So emotion and motivation are very, very interlinked.
Awesome. Love it, Chris. Thanks so much for your insight as always. You're an absolute legend. Welcome back. It's nice to see you again.
That's good to be back. I miss it.
Right. Guys, thanks so much for listening. We'd appreciate so much if you could drop us a follow, hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, because obviously that means you'll be notified anytime that we release the podcast. We greatly appreciate your support. Feel free to comment any questions that you have below regarding the podcast or just any health and fitness questions in general. We'd love to do our best to answer them. But apart from that, guys, we will see you in the next one. Have a nice week. Have a nice life. Peace.